so bad.
Yeah, it has to.
So bad. This is what they're putting out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It just seems like every time I read an article on autism, they almost never get it right. They first talk about mercury being removed from vaccines either in 1999, 2001, 2002. Nobody talks about the stockpiles of vaccines. Nobody talks about when they were used up. My child received full mercury-containing vaccines in 2003. So if they were all gone by 2002, I'm not sure how that could happen.
How did you know that?
There used to be a way to look up
On the bottle?
We had the on the vaccine record. There was the lot number, and you used to be able to look up your lot number. I don't think you can do that anymore. That's one thing that I find very annoying. Then they talk about biomedical treatments as being unproven. They talk about parents versus science when really the parents have all the science and the CDC has nothing. And that's one of the most frustrating things to me, is that all of the scientific studies that are being done, all of the real science that's being done shows how dangerous the toxins are, how damaging they are to developing bodies, little tiny bodies.
Now, what kind of, other than mercury, what kind of toxins?
Aluminum. Aluminum is a big part of vaccines. That's what induces the immune system to actually have a reaction. And now that mercury has been reduced in vaccines, the aluminum has really been ramped up. Nobody has studied the effect of high levels of aluminum on tiny little bodies and brains. Anyway, so you find these things, and the press never seems to get it right. They never seem to get the full story. And they interview the leaders of the autism movement, and they take one quote from them, when you know they must have heard the full story. And then the Hannah Poling case, autism-like features, she had full-blown autism, right? She didn't, they don't report
What's your
that.
name?
Catherine Schleimer?
With the C?
Yes. You know, those kind of inaccuracies just really get to me.
Well, I just retired from the federal government here, and I guess I'm curious as to what kind of research I'd like to promote
Talk
research.
to David Kirby. He's an investigative reporter.
Yeah.
Talk to Dan Olmsted. He's an investigative reporter.
But my question is, as a parent, what kind of studies should the government be doing, and who in the government
Do
should be
the
doing?
never vaccinated versus vaccinated study. Find out if kids that have never been vaccinated are healthier than children who have had all of these vaccines.
It's hard to find.
No,
never
it's not.
vaccinated. Where do we
Generation
find it?
Rescue did their own study.
Yeah.
They were able to find, I can't remember how many, thousands
That hadn't
of,
Yeah, but that was not a good study.
they tried.
Yeah. Well, how could the government?
Well, there is a bill. Well, there's a bill that
Yeah.
was in Congress that I don't know where it went, tabled somewhere.
Yeah.
That was supposed to, they were supposed to fund the study.
You are the child.
This is Max. Max has autism. Hi, Max.
How old?
He'll be 6 next week, actually.
When did he start showing symptoms?
He had reactions to all his vaccines. It's like it was a downward slide. I had no idea what was going on. He's a very typical story. Tons of ear infections, always on antibiotics. His pediatrician vaccinated him anyway.
Now, do the antibiotics have toxins in them, or?
Well, you should talk to one of the medical experts in autism, one of the DAN doctors. But apparently, when you're on antibiotics, your immune system is very susceptible to vaccines.
So
He produces virtually no glutathione on his own, which is one of your body's major, protectors. We've had a lot of testing done. He has tons of food sensitivities. We're not guessing. We didn't do the gluten-free, casein-free diet because we were guessing. We actually had him tested more than once.
What kind of tests do they do?
We do blood tests. We do IgG sensitivity tests.
Okay.
So
There's a lot of
his
medical
symptoms were from the time he was.
From his vaccines at 2 months is when he would He was on this roller coaster. His development was. He would get very ill, and he would slow down, and I would worry, and then he would start to pick up again, and then things would go wrong. He had puffy eyes and diarrhea for 2 years, and the pediatrician, of course, toddler diarrhea. He digests his food too quickly.
I have
Nobody.
when I was just in the government, I studied a lot about WIC and breastfeeding. Were you breastfeeding?
No, Max is adopted.
Duh.
Well, I could have breastfed him, but I had already adopted one. So
Yeah.
How old was he when you got him? Infant?
4.5 months old, he came home. But we visited him at 6 weeks, 2.5 months, and then he came home at 4.5 months.
What a cutie.
Yeah, they're tired. They do. It makes me very angry.
Well, partly it's because they don't catch all the mothers who have hepatitis B, but also it's because it's a preventive strategy that if you vaccinate all kids at birth, then you have less hepatitis B when they're older. Because,
Sure.
Right.
But you could also, cut off everybody's feet at birth and they wouldn't get foot problems either.
Well, that's true. If it was cutting off your foot, it would certainly
But
not
why
be
you have
something you want to do.
a 7-pound baby with an underdeveloped immune system, with a disease that spread,
What
with
do you
sharing
mean,
needles. It's the same way AIDS is.
Underdeveloped immune system. They get huge.
They're constantly bombarded with germs in the womb and everywhere else.
So
I mean,
So
They
it's
have a
okay
very
to
healthy
inject them
immune
with
system.
aluminum. Didn't the hepatitis B have the full load of mercury back in 1999? How many kids got that? And a 5-pound baby, 7-pound baby, doesn't matter. You want to know if the mother has hepatitis B, Seriously, at birth? Is that a smart strategy? How can you not
well, it
damage some
eradicated.
kids?
I mean, the thing is, if it caused damage, it wouldn't be smart. But we know that it's also eradicated. I mean, not eradicated, but it's reduced the number of hepatitis B cases in the group of kids who've gotten it by 100,000 a year.
the
So it's
group of
prevented
kids who have gotten it.
and the group of because in
Can you
Alaska,
show me proof?
Yes,
Let me
I
see.
can.
Let me see
There's
the
evidence.
numbers on
You
that.
just need to look on MMWR or look on PubMed, and you'll see the studies. Maybe you won't believe them.
Well, why at birth? Why not give it to them before they enter high school?
Well, no. I mean, I think that's it's on an individual basis. You can certainly say, why should I know that I don't have hepatitis B. I've been tested. Why should I vaccinate my kid? I mean, I think that's
At
perfectly
12
legitimate.
hours old.
That's a very legitimate question. The point is, as a public health measure, the idea of it is, this is the age
How
when
many
you
kids do
vaccinate.
brain damage so somebody doesn't die
Yeah, I
of
mean,
hepatitis
if it caused
B?
brain damage, then you're right. It would be
Yeah.
the wrong thing to do.
How much aluminum can a tiny body take? Where's the study on that?
How much aluminum is actually
How much is
in
it? It's a
the
very
vaccine?
tiny amount.
Really?
Yes.
How
Yes.
much?
I don't have it on the tip of my tongue.
It's a tiny amount, huh?